Do you believe that you can intentionally create your life? My guest today, Carelyn Torres, is all about living your life by design. And that means saying yes to the things that you want to say yes to, but it also means, and maybe this is even more importantly so, saying no to the things that you want to say no to.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, where we bridge the worlds of the taboo topic of money with the woo-woo world of manifestation. We're your hosts, Chris and Jenny Schultz.
We're not just about dollars and cents around here. We're all about lifestyle design. You can be working towards financial independence while still living a life you love today.
Get ready for insightful conversations with guests who have embraced the FIRE movement by achieving financial independence and retiring early, as well as entrepreneurs and individuals who defied the norm and have paved their own way to a life they love.
Together, we'll explore the powerful connection between mindset, financial freedom, and living a purposeful life. And of course, we'll be sharing our own journey to how we carved our path to a seven-figure net worth before hitting the big 4-0. Are you ready to ignite your financial future? Then let's dive right in.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, where your journey to financial independence and the life you love begins now.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, Carolyn.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on, and I would love for you to share with the listeners a little bit about who you are and what your story is.
I am a woman to start with. I'm a mom of 2 boys. I live in Florida. I love the outdoors, nature, all the things. I also have an engineering degree, and I am a certified integrative nutrition health coach. And I don't know if this has happened to you, but when you're growing up, you have like all these timelines, right? Like you have like by 18, I wanted to graduate high school and go to college, and like then by 21, 22, graduate college and get a good job, and then get married, have children, and kind of like everything else is sort of a blur. So I had that timeline in my mind, and everything worked out pretty well. It seems that I was very aligned with my goals, what I wanted to do, and I have a clear vision of where I was headed to. Everything except, so in my case, like I wanted to graduate top of my class in high school, and so I did. I wanted to graduate top of my class in college, and so I did. And then I had a job offer. I had a job before I graduated from college. And it was a great opportunity to showcase my skills and everything in engineering. And then I said, okay, my next milestone was having a house and getting married and children. So I got the house, but the children and the marriage, that didn't happen. Like I dated and was going out and with people and all the things. I got married later on, a couple years later. But that marriage didn't work. So I got divorced. And then a couple years later, I met my current partner. And then I have 2 beautiful children that are my everything. They're my blessing, my treasure. And it's just amazing. But why I wanted to say this is that often we have these plans or these things in life, and things don't always go as planned. But often we say, or we think, or we see those things as mistakes or failures or whatever it is that you want to call it. And I have learned as I get more mature and older that those things are there to help us grow, to help us become who we need to be in order to get what we want, if that makes sense. I can speak a little bit more about that later. But anyhow, so my original timeline is like by 25, I was going to be married and I was going to have children, and I already had the job and the home and all the things. But I ended up finding my current partner at 33 and then having my first child by 30. So within a time frame of almost a year or close to a year, I actually met my partner, had a second home, and got pregnant. And it's like everything happened like that. So it's just to say, is like sometimes like everything happened. If I would have met him earlier in my life, I'm not sure that we would have merged so well and maybe lasted 11 years that we have been together so far. So I had to grow and I had to become this person. And so does he. And like he had to have his own journey. And so did I, to come together and be able to form what we currently have. So since this is a manifestation podcast, it's just to say, if your manifestations are not coming to fruition yet, don't get discouraged. There's going to be ups and downs in the journey. There's going to be a lot of things that you have to grow, but when you really grow and take the lessons in, you're going to open up to a lot of different things, and things are just going to come in. We just have to be open for things to look different, and then just trust that everything is coming. I am a fair believer. Like, I believe in God. I believe in divine timing, and that God is always guiding me. And sometimes I just need to learn something before I can get what I want. But he's always there providing and supporting me, and he's always there for me and guiding the way. That makes sense. So that's kind of a little bit in there. And then fast forwarding to now. So we've been together for 11 years. I got my certification as a health coach because I experienced burnout in corporate. And when I worked with a health coach myself, like, she really helped me to do a lot of things and clear up a lot of things in my life and guide me in the right direction where I wanted to be. And that's actually, I think, one of the reasons why I was able to then get to my husband, because that was before I met my current partner. But she kind of created that spark in myself. So when I had my first child, I got certified. And then a couple years after, I got laid off from a corporate job, and then I started my business. And it has been evolved and all the things, but it's really about helping others creating the lifestyle that they want, but with a focus on really helping you to have the energy and the well-being to then be able to create everything outside of you, if that makes sense. So in my case, like, again, I had my husband, the children and all the things, and then I have a business, and then I've been able to, it took me a little bit to really understand, because I was mimicking the steps of my mom, but it's not to say that she's a great mother and all the things, and she did the best that she could with what she had. But I had a taste of what I wanted in my life, and I wanted something a little bit different than what she had. And when I started to notice myself kind of stepping into that path, I had to take a step back and really be honest with myself. What does success means to me? What does motherhood mean to me? How do I want my life to be? And then little by little start to putting the bricks and the stones and all the things to start building that life. And then in essence, again, that's what I help other moms do, because I think it's fascinating that you are able to live by design and not by default. And it's just, I think life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is meant to be lived well. And we often just go with the motions of life and everything, and we just miss so much. So does that answer your question? I know it's kind of a long-winded answer.
No, that was perfect. And you said something in there twice that I want to speak on, because I feel so many of the listeners will resonate with that. You said that linear path you were on, the go to school, get a job, get married, have kids. And then you said following in your mom's footprints. To me, those two things are kind of almost like society's expectations or your upbringing, that somebody else has showed you their blueprint or what worked for them, and you held yourself to that. So what did it look like for you, or what did you have to do to allow yourself to start putting the pieces together to be like, okay, I get to create my own journey from this? It might not be going at the speed that I think I want the things to do, but how can we allow ourselves to see that the path that we are holding ourselves to might not be for us, and that we have the permission, in a sense, to start doing our own thing?
So being honest, I had that linear path and everything. I kind of went through with what I knew, right? Later on, when I started my coaching business, I started working with other visionaries and people. And that's when I got started to being introduced of, you can do whatever it is. Like, you can do whatever you want in life, right? It's not set in stone. Because I grew up, my mom was, the education that I had, or the principles, is like, you get to go to college and get a good job and then just make money. And that's how it's going to help you and support you and all the things. So I kind of was with the thing is like, well, you get an engineering degree or a doctorate degree or a lawyer degree, and then that's how you can be successful and make money and do all the things. And when I was in corporate, that's kind of what I experienced. That was my experience. That was my truth. when I started exploring within the coaching business and start mingling around and seeing other people, what's possible for them and the things that they were doing, that kind of opened the Pandora box for me. Was like, this is all the world of possibilities. That's how can I do. So that's how I started to say, is if this people can do it, so can I, right? If it's possible for them, it is possible for me. I started hearing more about you create your vision. And even when I was in school or when I was getting my certification as a coach, I was introduced to the concept of the wheel of life. It's like you get to start looking at everything in your life as a whole, like everything's integrated, interconnected, and everything's going to affect one thing or the other. I started seeing things different. And that's when it's okay. I know it doesn't have to be this way now or no more, because not everybody's following that path, and look how they're doing it. It's amazing. And then I understood that we're co-creators. Like I'm co-creating again with God, and the desires that I have were put in my heart for a reason. He put them in there to show me what's possible, to show me the way. I have free will, right? And I get to decide, but it's like, if he's guiding me there, if that was put in my heart for a reason, is like, who am I to not follow through? Even though their fear is like, it hasn't been pretty, not all the time, right? There's good, bad, and ugly and all the things. It's experience, it's life, right? We're human beings, right? So everything is part of the journey. But it was just understanding that there was more, and that you get to be honest with yourself. You get to understand, okay, if you don't like this, and then, for example, your body is the true guide in there to tell you. So for example, let's say that you want to go right and left. That's your option, right or left. If you go right, you might feel in your body this contraction or something within. We often ignore those things, those signals of our bodies, the emotions and those sensations, our body telling us if it's aligned or not aligned. But then you do the left, and then that might feel expensive, but everybody's telling you to go right. So then, because of fear and because everybody's telling you do right, that's where you go. But it's not what you want. So as you get to have the courage to start saying, okay, this is what I want. This is how I want to feel. This is who I want to be, and start working towards that. And it's not that you're going to overhaul your whole life and everything. I mean, you could, but often that's not possible. You get to start little by little. Small daily actions will compound over time in a beautiful thing. So that's one of the things that I do and I coach my clients in, because it's just, we are often in instant gratification. We're a society of we want things now, and I'm guilty of that. It's like, I want to do it now, I want it now, and all the things. But I have learned that as long as I do small daily actions or small actions towards what I want, even if I don't see the results right away, eventually I will get what I want. It's just kind of the analogy of the rock. Like you're hitting the rock, you want to break it. Maybe it takes 100 hits for it to break. And it's not that 100 hit that broke the rock. It's just all the 99 hits that were there that caused the stress and the whatever it needed to be for that 100 hit to be able to finally break it. So it's just all those little things that we do that are going to help us. If there's something within you that tells you like you want more, is there something that tells you like this is not right for me? Listen to that, and then have the courage to start thinking, okay, what it is that I really truly want, and then go for it little by little. You don't have to do big changes, but little by little. And you get to be honest with yourself. Who do you want to be? It's not about you becoming, I'm not Jeff Bezos, for example, or anything. So it's like, who is the version of me, of Carolyn, that could be as successful as Jeff Bezos, as successful as I want to be? And then just building the plan and building the path to get there little by little.
That's beautiful. And those little bits of being courageous, that's hard to do as a human. That's hard to be courageous. But I find every time you take those little yes moments to say yes to you, despite what society or your peers or you feel like you should do, every time you take those little courageous steps, I find your confidence grows equally in the steps. So the more courageous steps you take, the more your confidence grows, and the easier it is to start saying yes to you.
Absolutely. And then going back to the little things, sometimes you just have a little bit of courage. Like maybe I want to stop doing the cookies for the bake sales. If that's going to shock your body and put you in like anxious mode or whatever. Well, maybe not say no to the bake sale next time is just maybe just buy it instead of making it yourself. You know what I mean? And then maybe next time you say no. It's like you build the courage. The thing is that understanding your body and understanding what she's telling you, little steps. Maybe it's like, I don't want to eat this anymore. It's just, you get to do simple decisions, because that's how you start building that confidence and that trust in yourself. Since that's kind of like a muscle that you have built little by little, like day by day, then when it comes to bigger things, you're going to trust yourself more. And then that way, when you do little by little, you're not shocking your system, because we're so used to being stressed all the time, and we're so used to just doing what everybody tells you. And we're so afraid of, what are people going to think about me if I decide to do this instead of what everybody is going to do? Or what are people going to reject me? And I'm example of that, like fear of judgment, fear of rejection, all those things used to tend to stop me. And then it kind of kept me in this kind of loop of like, why can I not do this? And like all this like vicious cycle of putting myself down and all the things, and that's not serving me. And then it's feeling the discomfort of doing what I don't want to do. But if you get to be in the discomfort of what you know, and then the discomfort of what's the unknown, you get to kind of shift the weight. And then those little actions are going to help you do that. Those little courageous actions, even if it's just a tiny thing of deciding what to eat instead, or where to go, or when to say no, all the things, just going to help you build that trust. Our bodies are so used to that familiar kind of thing. And that's what our brain is going to want to keep us in the familiar, even if it's painful, even if it's just dangerous, because then we're making what's unknown even worse.
Yeah, definitely. And your example in there of making cookies for the bake sale, I think so many parents listening to that right now can relate, because as a parent, you're feeling like you need to do all of the things. You need to show up for your spouse. You need to show up for your kids. You need to show up at your kids' school for the bake sale. You need to show up for the parents that are standing outside there picking their kids up too. You need to show up for all of these things. And at the end of the day, we sometimes forget to show up for ourselves. So how do you keep yourself centered in the showing up for all of the areas of your life?
I think we just get to be honest. You can show up for everything, but just make sure that it's truly what you want. And when you start honoring that, you start showing up for yourself as well. And then, of course, you get to take a step back and take care of you and work on you. Because when you give back to yourself, when you truly have or come from an overflow, that's when you're truly giving to everybody. I've heard once, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was from a mentor. And the idea was, if you give from what's left from you, you're pretty much being selfish, because you're not giving with full heart. You're giving more from, I need to give you, and is kind of expecting. But when you give, when you're full kind of thing, it's more coming from overflow, and it's coming from an energy of more generosity. It's really a matter of getting clear of, what are the things that you truly want to do? What are the things that are, and not the shoulds, not the have tos, not like what everybody else is like, you. What do you want to do? What do you want to create? And what's going to help you that? Who do you want to be? If you want to be part of like, I love being part of the bake sales, part of like being there for my children, taking them to school, being at the activities of the field trips and all the things. But I know not every mom likes that. And it's okay. There's no judgment in there. You don't want to, kudos to you if you honor that for you. I want to, kudos to me that I do that, because that's what I want. When we start aligning and doing the things that we want, it's a lot easier for us to really show up for ourselves, because we're being in integrity with ourselves. And then, of course, what I said is like having those little moments for ourselves where we can give to ourselves, either like exercising or meditating, connecting with our bodies, connecting with ourselves, just having those quiet times and all the things. And it doesn't have to be anything big. But what I've learned in my life is, one is, as a mom, I'm pretty much the heart of my home. It's like my kids right now still depend on me, right? I mean, they're pretty independent, but still. But everything that happens in my home, it's kind of like I'm the center. Think about this, like I'm the plant. If I'm healthy, if my roots, everything, it's good, then everything else can blossom. But if I'm not giving back to myself, if I'm like feeling ill all the time, or just like resentful, whatever it is, then it's not going to bloom right. It's not going to have healthy roots, and the plant is not going to bloom as beautiful as it could, right? When you start being in alignment with you and being honest and being in integrity, it's a lot easier to start showing up for yourself and people are going to understand. I had a client once. She used to be a workaholic and she was terrified because she was always available for her clients. And then she was neglecting her family, which was the reason why she started her business. And then she was frightened about start setting boundaries with her clients and everything. And when she started doing it, people were like, okay, it's good for you. It's good for us as moms, as leaders, as parents and everything to start setting the example. And we get to start teaching people how to treat us. And maybe they're going to be upset at the beginning, but they're going to learn and they're going to understand and they're going to learn to respect you more. And I'm not saying that you're going to say, no, just like forget it. Like, for example, if someone asks me for help and I can't, or I don't want to, just being honest, instead of saying like, no, and then just let it be, I was like, no, have you thought of? And then I give them options. So I might not be helping doing exactly what they needed or wanted, but I'm still helping them trying to figure it out. And I just don't leave them by the blue. So I'm not completely out of touch, but I do it in a way that serves me and that I know it's going to serve them. Because often, and I used to do this with my partner a lot, often when it comes to our children and our partners, we don't let them do things or figure out things on their own. We want to save the day for everybody. And I understood that like I cannot be everyone's savior, and I'm doing them a disservice when I'm trying to solve things for them and not allowing them to figure it out certain things on themselves. So for example, and I saw this in a video the other day, there was a child that was walking and then they had something in between. The parent, of course, because it's bigger, was able to just go through. And the parent didn't pick up the child and then just kept walking. The parent actually left the child to try to figure out on his own. He was patient in it and the child figured out how to get through. But often we're trying to save the day for everybody. And then that's when we start getting resentful and start getting like doing things that are out of alignment and all the things. We just have to get back to, okay, this is a no. Okay, how can I help others, or how can I help them help themselves?
I always love a win-win, which I feel like that accomplishes. Yeah. And I just have to segue to something here so that the listeners can get a sense of the power that you have to see a situation and see opportunity and see where you can help. So Carolyn and I had previously planned to record this pod. Something went sideways with my life. I was sick and I ended up wound in the hospital that day. So we had to reschedule. And when we reconnected today, I made some comment about my body. As I'm getting older, I'm almost, in a sense, expecting more wear and tear, more ailments to pop up, because I said, oh man, every decade, I always appreciate the decade body that I had prior. And Carolyn pointed out for me to watch my language in the way that I am seeing myself and projecting my future expectation of myself. So I thought that was so powerful. I find I'm a person who is usually very careful with my verbiage. I love manifestation and I'm always trying to do things from a place of intention. And I do suffer with health issues. And I think I am inadvertently, in a sense, manifesting them. So I am going to be holding myself to a healthier being from now on, from this point forward. But I would love for you, because you help coach people in the health and wellness space. You were a previous engineer. You just have these kind of unique gifts that meld together. So I would love for you to share where listeners can reach out and connect with you to gain more of your insights and wisdoms and all that fun stuff.
Thank you. Yes, to try to keep it simple, because that's one of my mottos in life, is just keep it simple, is to everything is under my name. So Carelyn Torres, my website is carelyntorres.com. Instagram would be at Carelyn Torres. I have a free community called the Energized Mom Lifestyle. I focus mainly on energy because I am a firm believer, especially like for the people who want to manifest more or want to do different things in life, that your energy is key. If you don't have the energy to do the things, if you don't have energy in general, it's going to be very difficult to do the things that are required from you. Mentally, physically, everything. It's like, and when we are working in ourselves, it requires a lot of energy. That's my main focus. It's really about helping moms or guiding them through a wellness transformation journey where they can optimize their well-being and energy. And so in that free community, I do trainings from time to time, and then just like daily reminders of some of the things that you get to do, like celebrate yourself, be grateful for, and then just other tips and tricks for energy and wellness and building habits and all the things. Because we're here in the long haul, and I'm a firm believer that habits is where it's what really is going to support you. Anything that's Carelyn Torres pretty much is where you're going to find me.
Okay, perfect. I will be sure to link that all in the show notes so people can have an easy click there. And thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
My pleasure. It's been such fun and very different conversation.
Good. And I love that.
Thank you.
Hey, wait, before you go, do you want to increase your income by $1,000 a month? If so, check out our free side hustle guide at www.4leaflifestyle.com/money-ideas. I'll pop it in the show notes for easy access.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Manifestation and Money podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to continue your journey to financial empowerment and creating a life you love, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
Come follow us on Instagram at Manifestation and Money Podcast or at 4Leaf Lifestyle for more inspiration and behind the scenes content. Remember, your life is yours to live. Your financial freedom journey is as unique as you are. So hop in the driver's seat. It's time to create the life of your dreams.